Alright, so this is a singer, or badass woman in Herstory. Marian Anderson. She was born February 27th, 1897. I think that she's an Aquarius like myself. April 8th. She passed on April 8th, 1993. She's considered one of the most important singers of the 20th century, known for her impressive 3-octave vocal range. She performed widely in the U.S. and Europe beginning in the 1920s. She was invited to perform at the White House for President Franklin Roosevelt and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt in 1936, the first African American so honored, as says this article from thoughtco.com. 3 years later, after the Daughters of the American Revolution refused to allow Anderson to sing at a Washington, D.C. gathering, the Roosevelts invited her to perform on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Interesting. Anderson continued to sing professionally until the 1960s when she became involved in politics and civil rights issues. Among her many honors, Anderson received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1963 and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1991. So she was an American contralto. I guess that's the type of singer. She performed a wide range of music, from opera to spirituals. She performed with renowned orchestras in major concert and recital venues throughout the U.S. and Europe between 1925 and 1965. Straight 40 years. I'll show it too far. She was an important figure in the struggle for African American artists to overcome racial prejudice in the United States during the mid-20th century. In 1939, during the era of racial segregation, the Daughters of the American Revolution, I already said this earlier, refused to allow Anderson to sing an integrated audience in Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. The incident placed Anderson in the spotlight of the international community on a level unusual for a classical musician. With the aid of First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and her husband, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, Anderson performed a critically acclaimed open-air concert on Easter Sunday, April 9, 1939, on the Lincoln Memorial steps in the Capitol. The event was featured in a documentary film, and she sang before an integrated crowd of more than 75,000 people and a radio audience in the millions. Take that, Daughters of the Revolution. Thirsty. Oh, shit, everybody's on camera. There. On the January 7th, 1955, Anderson became the first African-American singer to perform at the Metropolitan Opera. In addition, she worked as a delegate to the United Nations Human Rights Committee and as a goodwill ambassador for the United States Department of State, giving concerts all over the world. She participated in the civil rights movement in the 60s, singing at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in 1963. The recipient of numerous awards and honors, Anderson was awarded the first Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1963, the Congressional Gold Medal in 77, the Kennedy Center Honors in 78, the National Medal of Arts in 86, and a Grammy Lifetime, like we said earlier, in 91. She was born in Philadelphia to John Berkeley Anderson and Annie Delilah Rucker. Her father sold ice and coal at the Reading Terminal in downtown Philadelphia. Oh, that's why they have the Reading Railroad in Monopoly. And eventually also sold liquor. Prior to her marriage, Anderson's mother was briefly a student at the Virginia Seminary and College in Lynchburg and had worked as a school teacher in Virginia. As she did not obtain a degree, Annie Anderson was unable to teach in Philly under a law that was applied only to black teachers and not white ones. She therefore earned an income caring for small children. Marian was the eldest of the three Anderson children. Her two sisters, Alice and Ethel, also became singers. Ethel married James the Priest, and their son, James Anderson the Priest, was a noted conductor. It runs in the family. Anderson's parents were both devout Christians. Amen. And I went too far again. I scrolled way too far. And the whole family was active in the Union Baptist Church, which during her youth stood in a building constructed by the congregation in 1889 at 709 South 12th Street in South Philadelphia. Marian's aunt, Mary, her father's sister, was particularly active in the church's musical life and convinced her niece to join the junior church choir at the age of 6. In that role, she got to perform solos and duets, often with her aunt. Aunt Mary took Marian to concerts at local churches, the YMCA, benefit concerts, and other community music events throughout the city. Anderson credited her aunt's influence as the reason she pursued her singing career. Sorry, that's not a fart, that's a stick moving. Beginning as young as 6, her aunt arranged for Marian to sing for local functions where she often paid 25 or 50 cents for her aunt, or 50 cents for singing a few songs. Oh, and I can't even see the trees. Oh yeah, I can. It's so dark though. She got in the early teens. I'm gonna read fast as fudge. Mary began to make as much as $4 or $5 for singing, a considerable sum for the earliest 20th century. At the age of 10, Marian joined the People's Chorus of Philadelphia under the direction of singer Emma Hackley, whenever she was a hack, where she was often a soloist. When Anderson was 12, her father received a head injury while working at the Reading Terminal before Christmas of 1909. Soon afterwards, her father passed following heart failure. Damn. He was 37 years old. Holy moly. Marian and her family moved into the home of her father's parents, Benjamin and Isabella Anderson. Her grandfather had been born a slave and had been emancipated in the 1860s. He relocated to South Philadelphia, the first of his family to do so. When Anderson moved into his home, the two became very close, but he died just a year after the family moved in. Anderson attended Stanton Grammar School, graduated in 1912. Her family could not pay for any music lessons or high school. Dang, you had to pay for high school. Still, Anderson continued to perform wherever she could and learn from anyone who was willing to teach her. Throughout her teenage years, she remained active in her church musical activities, now heavily involved in the adult choir. She became a member of the Baptist Young People's Union and the Campfire Girls, which provided her with some limited musical opportunities. Eventually, the People's Chorus of Philadelphia and the pastor of the church, Reverend Wesley Parks, along with other leaders of the black community, raised the money she needed to get singing lessons with Mary Saunders Patterson and to attend South Philadelphia High School, from which she graduated in 1921. Nice. After high school, Anderson applied to an all-white music school. See, kids these days, I'm going to sound like an old head, but a lot of kids these days don't understand how hard it was just to get into high school. I didn't even realize that you had to pay to get into high school in the 20s. I don't know if it's because she was a melanated individual or what, or if that was just for everybody. I don't know. Both. Like, like because maybe it was a money thing. After high school, she applied to an all-white music school, the Philadelphia Musical Academy, now University of the Arts School of Music, but was turned away because she was black. The woman working the admissions counter replied, "We don't take color," when she tried to apply. Undaunted, Anderson pursued studies privately in her native city through the continued support of the Philadelphia black community. First with Agnew Reifsnyder, then Giuseppe Bogetti. She met Bogetti through the principal of her high school. Anderson auditioned for him by singing Dip River. He was immediately brought to tears. Bogetti scheduled a recital of English, Russian, Italian, and German music at the Town Hall in New York City in April of 1924. It took place in an almost empty hall and received poor reviews. Haters. In 1923, she made 2 recordings, Deep River and My Way's Cloudy, for the Victor Company. I like that title, My Way's Cloudy. Early career. This is a lot. And it's probably dangerous. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just rain. She did her first performance. I'm gonna just kind of skim through it. Carnegie Hall in 1928. if it wasn't like a tornado watch or whatever warning, I would probably read all this. She toured in Europe. At the Wigmore Hall in 1933 in London, where she was received enthusiastically. In her first years of the 1930s, she toured Europe, where she did not encounter the prejudices she had experienced in America. Yeah, Europe was ahead of the game for some reason back then. She performed in Russia and other major cities of Eastern Europe. She quickly became a favorite of many conductors and composers of major European orchestras. During the 1935 tour, did this get frozen? Oh, there it goes. Wait. During the 1935 tour, in Salzburg, the conductor Arturo Toscanini told her she had a voice heard once in 100 years. Oh, and I think we can listen to it. Hopefully, I don't think it's copyrighted. You can probably hear that rain though. Tree's not too windy. She had some American tours, but she was not immune to the Jim Crow laws in the 1930s. She gave approximately 70 recitals a year in the U.S., but she was still turned away by some American hotels and restaurants. Because of this discrimination, Albert Einstein, a champion of racial tolerance, hosted Anderson on many occasions. The first being in 1937 when she was denied a hotel room while performing at Princeton University. Einstein's first hosting of Anderson became the subject of a play, My Lord, What a Night, in 2021. She stayed with him months before he died in 1955. What? That's crazy. Control, click. Let's try to listen to her singing at the Lincoln Memorial. Okay, it's not gonna work. Oh yeah, it's working. It's loading. Oh, the water's up there. Looking for more agua. Looking for more agua. All right, let's give it a go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're speaking to you from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in the nation's capital, from which point the National Broadcasting Company brings you a song recited by the gifted Marian Anderson, considered by music critics throughout the world as possessing a most outstanding contralto voice. This concert is presented under the auspices of Howard University of Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Miss Anderson will sing from a stage built on the steps of this impressive memorial to America's Civil War president, looking out over the beautiful reflecting pool to the Washington Monument. Marian Anderson is singing this public concert at the Lincoln Memorial because she was unable to get an auditorium to accommodate the tremendous audience that wished to hear her. Thousands are gathered near the memorial to hear this Easter Day recital, which is perhaps the first open-air concert ever held in Washington. Miss Anderson will be introduced by Secretary of the Interior, Harold L. Ickes, after which she will sing a group of three songs. America, the aria O Mio Fernando from Donizetti's opera, La Favorite, and Schubert's Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Here now, the Honorable Harold L. Ickes, Secretary of the Interior.
Go to the Wikipedia page and they have like a link of a lot of her songs.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this great auditorium under the sky,
I don't know where the speaker is.
all of us are free. When God gave us this wonderful outdoors, and the sun, the moon, and the stars, He made no distinction of race or creed or color.
that Roosevelt?
And
Or Harold
130
Ice?
years ago, he sent to us one of his truly great, in order that he might restore freedom to those from whom we had disregardfully taken it.
So like what? We didn't catch that part. I didn't either.
Abraham Lincoln laid down his life. And so it is as appropriate as it is fortunate that today we stand reverently and humbly at the base of this memorial to the great emancipator, where glorious tribute is rendered to his memory by a daughter of the race from which he struck the chains of slavery. Facing us down the mall beyond the Washington Monument, which we have erected as a symbol of the towering stature and fame of him who founded this republic, there is rising a memorial to that other great Democrat in our short history,
All right, homeboy. I want to hear you sing.
who proclaimed as lift.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. What were you supposed to do? Whoa. $1939. We're in 2023. Less than 100 years, but still. Yo, that's pretty badass. Let's hear how it sounds with no music on the background. I mean, Louis Pointe music. Okay, doesn't go with that one. Doesn't go with that one at all. Oh, it just ended. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's get back to Marian Anderson. That was beautiful. At least she's about to sing some more. Oh, they got music for the next one. Kind of want to hear that Ave Maria.
And the aria O Mio Fernando with
Okay, this is scary, guys, to listen to in the dark with a storm going on outside. So Marian Anderson was a gangster. She was on TV on NBC and CBS in 1953, where she sang songs, including "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands." She did the Metropolitan Opera in '55. She was the first African American to do so. She sang for President Eisenhower's inauguration and toured India and the Far East as Goodwill Ambassador through the U.S. State Department and the American National Theater and Academy. She traveled 35,000 miles and in 12 weeks, giving 24 concerts. Man, to be able to, that's tough. I mean, just talking every day is tough. On the throat, and you gotta be like very healthy, and there was no, auto tune or anything like that back then. Not that that would, I mean, you still gotta sing it, but there was no, I don't know. Let's see. Apparently she released an album called Snoopy Cat. The Adventures of Marian Anderson's cat Snoopy. Whoa, there was a cat Snoopy before there was a dog Snoopy? In that album, it included short stories and songs about her beloved black cat. I kind of want to hear that. That's pretty cool. She performed in Carnegie Hall in '65. She christened the nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine USS George Washington Carver. Later life. She retired from singing in '65. She still continued to appear publicly. She was active in the civil rights, right? No, 65, yeah. In '76, she often narrated Aaron Copland's Lincoln Portrait with her nephew James DePriest conducting. In 1976, Copland conducted a performance with the Philadelphia Orchestra at Saratoga. Her achievements were recognized with many honors, including the University of Pennsylvania Glee Club Award of Merit in 1973, United Nations Peace Prize, New York City's Handel Medallion, and the Congressional Gold Medal in 1977. All those she got in '77. Kennedy Center honors in '78, George Peabody Medal in '81, National Medal of Arts in '86, and a Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement in '91. Half-ounce gold commemorative medal was embossed with her portrait by the U.S. State's Treasury Department in 1980. 4 years later, she was the first person to be honored with the Eleanor Roosevelt Human Rights Award of the City of New York. She was awarded 24 honorary doctoral degrees by Howard University, Temple University, Smith College, and many other colleges and universities. Damn, badass. That's what I'm talking about. I don't really want to get into her personal life. This seems kind of personal, her relationships and stuff. So yeah, check her out. Marian Anderson, definitely worth a check out. I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna come right back. Maybe I'll do a freestyle. Maybe I won't. Can you hear the rain in the air? Can you hear the rain in the air? Can you feel the pain in my stare? There's a freestyle. Fuck it, let me just try to get it done right now. Wrap this up. Yup. Call me Christian.